Predict, pick, and prevail in your fantasy football leagues with Nick Giacobbe and Nick Cap. From breakouts to busts, superstars to sleepers, these are the guys that will help you achieve fantasy glory. This is the PrimeTime Fantasy Podcast.
Welcome, everybody. It is our live edition. It is Thursday night. It is NFL Kickoff. It is Sunday, September 8th. We are super duper excited. I am Nick Giacobbe. That is Nick Cap. This is the PrimeTime Fantasy Podcast, where we give you our predictions, our picks, and the hopes that we help you prevail in week one and the rest of the 2022 fantasy football season. Nick, we are about 2 hours from kickoff, 2 hours, 20 minutes. That ugly banner is going to drop tonight. I don't want to see it, but it's going to happen. And we're going to talk some fantasy football today.
Yes, sir. It's about time. It's been too long. It's been so long. We've had a lot of weeks building up to this moment, and there's pretty much no better game you can get off with, in my opinion, the two best teams in the league. So it's going to be fun to watch real football again, but definitely fun to get back into the fantasy swing of things.
You're telling me you didn't have fun in the preseason watching
I did watch my Jets go undefeated. I did watch that. That's it.
Oh, man. Are the Ravens still undefeated? I think
they are undefeated. They did go undefeated.
What's their streak up to? Is it 22?
Something like that.
They may have passed the Undertaker streak at this point.
Oh, man.
Anyway, for you guys joining us, if it's your first time, thank you so much. We do our podcast 4 times a week, every week, with our newest episode coming out tomorrow, actually. You can find us on all audio streaming podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Android Podcasts, Anchor. Basically, anywhere where you could find a podcast, you could find us, the PrimeTime Fantasy Podcast. If you're on iTunes, if you're on Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating and a review. I would really appreciate that from all of you guys out there. If you'd rather watch the show like you're watching it today, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, we do put the show up on YouTube, so you can watch that every time an episode comes out. We do shows Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we have a live show every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, just like this show. If you wake up bright and early for your Sundays, you could ask us questions in the chat. We're also going to post a graphic to our social media channels on Saturday, so you can ask us questions. If you don't want to wake up early on Sunday, we will answer them on the live on Sunday morning. But if you're up early, join, chat with us, talk football, talk fantasy football, answer our questions. That's Sunday mornings, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on our Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. If you want to know where you can find us on social media, our Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok is PrimeTimeFFPod. Our Facebook and YouTube is PrimeTime Fantasy Podcast. All right, let's talk a nice Thursday night football preview. It's an awesome game. Nick said a potential Super Bowl caliber matchup right here. Bills and the Rams. Nick, from just a broad fantasy standpoint, do you expect this to be a fantasy heavy game tonight, or are people not going to get a lot of fantasy points from their stars for the first game?
I mean, the guys you took that are playing in this game, pretty much all the stars are drafted in the top 6 rounds. Your running backs outside of Singletary, both Josh Allen, of course, first quarterback off the board, Cooper Kupp, first wide receiver off the board, Diggs, first round, early second round receiver. So tons of fantasy implication tonight. It should absolutely be a great game and a ton of fantasy impact. 2 stellar defenses. So I'm excited to see what Nick has to say about his projections for the game. But I mean, it's a big one. It's a big one to start off.
It is. And if you're in multiple leagues like me and Nick, you probably have somebody in this game, whether you got guys like Cooper Kupp or Stephon Diggs early in your drafts, or maybe in the mid rounds, you got Cam Akers or Gabriel Davis. And then the 2 quarterbacks. I mean, Josh Allen's probably the first quarterback off the board in most leagues, or maybe you waited and let Matthew Stafford fall to you. So there's probably a good chance you have somebody playing tonight. So we're going to talk to you about that. If you guys have any questions throughout the entire show, we will answer them. We're probably going to go until about 6:30 Eastern Time, so about another 25 minutes. So if you have any questions at any time, drop it in the chat. My mom says go Bills. I say go Bills as well. I like that.
I say go Jets, baby.
I'm all in on the Bills Mafia this season. That's my one. Well, the Broncos are probably there. My one B team is going to be like the Broncos, and I do like the Bills. But yeah, if you guys have any questions,
your B team might be the Raiders.
I do like the Raiders. Yeah, I like anybody in that division except for like the Chiefs. Drop any questions you have in the chat throughout the entire show. We'll stop and we'll answer them for you. For now, they're going to go into our projections. Nick has the projections, so I'm going to let him pull them up and actually tell me. So we're going by ESPN PPR standard scoring is where we're going to go for. So how about we start with the quarterbacks? What do we got right now?
All right, so we'll go with the Bills. We'll go with the visiting team first. We'll go with Josh Allen. He's projected 22.6 points on the week. Give me 1 sec to check all quarterbacks. He's currently projected the second most points for a quarterback, only
Who's he behind?
Jalen Hurts.
Hurts
going up against Detroit. So very high projection going up against the best team in the football. Nick, what do you think?
22. In standard PPR, so we're talking 6 points rushing, 4 points receiving. That's a good number. That's a really good number. I think that's kind of where he's hovering around. The Rams defense is so tough. I'm going to go slightly. I don't have a strong opinion either way. This is a really good number here. This is a really tough one to forecast.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you could go. I got to think on this one.
All right. So the only way that the Bills are going to be relevant in this game is they are not running that ball up Aaron Donald and up Bobby Wagner's throats. The two of them are going to shut the run game down. Josh Allen is going to have to be a passing machine. He's going to have to roll out of the pocket. He is going to have to rush that ball into the end zone. I think he's going to easily snap this 22 number. I think he finishes closer to 28 to 32. Should be a high-scoring game. Typically, defenses in the first 4 to 5 weeks are still figuring it out. So as much as they are the Super Bowl champs, they did add a lot of new pieces, and there is a lot to figure out. I think the Bills should have no problem putting up points to those outside receivers. Josh Allen should deliver on that number.
I'll say over, but at like 23 or 24. The Rams defense is arguably the best in the league. Aaron Donald, best defensive player maybe of all time, like the best of our generation. Jalen Ramsey, lockdown corner. The Rams still have a bunch of other studs. And Bobby Wagner is going to be suiting up. That makes me absolutely sick to my stomach that I have to watch Bobby Wagner tonight. I'm going to lose my mind. But yeah, so I'll go a tiny bit over. I'll go 24, I'll say. All right. Joe says, should I feel confident starting Allen Robinson tonight? Currently, I have Pittman, Marquise Brown, Jacobs, and Thielen starting over him. Dude, like, who do you have in your lineup that you have these options even? That's pretty sick. I would start Allen Robinson over Thielen. If I'm ranking all these guys, like I'm assuming, I guess there's 2 receivers and there's 2 flexes, I'm guessing. I would start Allen Robinson over Josh Jacobs and Thielen. I like starting receivers over running backs in flex spots, especially if it's a PPR league. Jacobs, I love him this week. I said he's going to have a great week, but from a PPR standpoint, I'd rather start the receivers. Pittman has an awesome matchup. Marquise Brown, awesome matchup. I think Allen Robinson has a great matchup tonight. So I would start all 3 and then decide between Thielen and Jacobs. I think I would go Jacobs by a slight edge.
Tre'Davious White is out for the game, so that means that Cooper Kupp will be seeing the cornerback 2 for the Bills, and Allen Robinson, who is still a top 20 receiver talent-wise in the league, is going to be facing the 3rd best corner for the team. So for me, I think you have to start Allen Robinson tonight. I would definitely play him over either Jacobs or Thielen. The Chargers allow a lot of rushing yards, so Jacobs could have good production, but just as I say that, the Packers secondary is very susceptible. I think you can bench either or of those 2 in place of Allen Robinson. I think all 3 can give you a good game, though.
I will say this. If you're playing Allen Robinson tonight, this is for Joe and everybody else. Do not put him in your flex. It's a Thursday game. Your rule for Thursday games is none of those players should be in your flex because what if you have an issue on Sunday and you can't swap them out? So, Joe, make sure you put Allen Robinson in your wide receiver 1 or 2. All right, Marcus Valdez, half-point PPR, Jalen Waddle, Gabe Davis, or Allen Robinson. Marcus, if you're in the chat on Facebook, can you please let us know if we can only play 1 or are we playing 2? We'll rank them for you for sure, but let us know how many we're allowed to play. What are you thinking, Nick? Do you have a strong opinion here?
I think Allen Robinson clearly has to be the play here.
I think so, too.
Waddle's going up against Bill Belichick this week, which is a recipe for failure. Tua up against Bill Belichick, recipe for failure.
And that's going to be a really low-scoring game. Pick 1. So I will rank them 1 to 3, but pick 1. Yes.
I also think that Allen Robinson presents the highest ceiling for a touchdown out of these 3. So in a half PPR format, I know Robinson, you typically rely on a boatload of work, but he has so much touchdown upside in this offense. I think I'd feel more comfortable starting him over the other 2.
Yeah, I think Allen Robinson finds the end zone tonight. I do think Gabriel Davis has a nice game, though. So I would rank them Allen Robinson, Gabriel Davis, Jalen Waddle. Marcus,
Yep.
I would say go with your gut, whoever you trust. It's week 1, play your stars. But I would play Allen Robinson. I got to say, Marcus, I would love to see your team because you got to have a pretty nice team to even have to decide between these 3 guys. So excellent draft on your part if that's who you're deciding between. A lot of wide receiver talk, Nick. So how about we go to the wide receiver projections? Why don't we start with, if you can, I don't know what you're pulling up there, but if we could do the wide receiver ones, if we could do Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp first, and then move on to Allen Robinson and Gabriel Davis.
All right, so we'll go with Cooper Kupp first. We are at a projection of 19.7. That would put him as the projected. Hold on, it's
got to be top 3. Like it's got to be in the top 3.
Number 1. It is.
Yeah, that is a number.
All right, so 19.7. It is the number 1 wide receiver. Nick, what are you thinking?
I don't like that number, but with Tre'Davious White out and Cooper Kupp crushed it last year, I don't think you could bet against him. I think he's going to hit that number. He does need to get into the end zone to hit that number, though, unless he gets like 19 targets, which is possible as well. But it's a high number. I could see him. I'm going to say over for the sake of the fact that, again, he was so great last year. You can't bet against that number. I'll say somewhere between 18 to 20 tonight.
So if we take a look last year, Cooper Kupp averaged close to 10 catches per game. That would put him halfway to that number. If he sees the same workload as he did last year, and if he sees the same yardage and touchdowns, he's destroying that 19 number. I think you have to bet on him breaking it. So if I had to take my pick, I'm going with him breaking that number.
All right, so we're both on for that one. We're both all in on the over at this point. All right, and what about Stephon Diggs?
Diggs is currently projected as the wide receiver 6 at 16.6. He has that shadow matchup of Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, I have Diggs in 2 leagues, and I hate it. I love having Diggs on the season. I hate this matchup. I'm going to give him somewhere between 12 and 14. This is an under game for Diggs, and it's going to be a bigger Gabriel Davis game or Dawson Knox. Like somebody else is going to step up here. It's not going to be a Stephon Diggs game tonight. You're still playing him. You picked him in your first and second round, so I'm not saying to not pick him. So I actually have like a safety net on this take because if I'm wrong, you still got a lot of points and you're not benching him. But if I'm right, then I look kind of smart. But you're playing him no matter what. I'm just saying don't expect more than 14 points. Yeah, unless he scores a touchdown. This is touchdown dependent, this take. If he scores a touchdown, he's over 16, but I'm not projecting him a touchdown.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think he's 6 catches, 80 yards. I think that's the stat line. And if he hits the end zone, he sees the 20. If not, he sees 14. I think that's roughly where he'll finish around.
All right, let's go to the other wide receivers. Let's start. Well, we just spoke about Allen Robinson. What's his number? Because I'm sure we're both going to say the over, but what is Allen Robinson's number? It's probably like 12, I'm guessing.
It is 12.2.
It's 12. He's getting a touchdown, 5 receptions, and probably 50 yards. That's going to get him well close to 17 points. I'm going to say I'll put a safe number 16. He goes over that 12.
Yeah, I think he's well over the 12. I think you could see top numbers from Allen Robinson. I think the Rams team is putting up a lot of points tonight. I feel like everybody always takes the over in the early weeks, but defenses are so they're tough to evaluate at the beginning of the year. They don't always click. And I think Jordan Poyer, who's one of the safeties out there, he's gone. I think Allen Robinson should have no problem delivering on 12 as well.
All right, what about Gabriel Davis? He's probably around 11 or 10 is my guess.
He is right at Allen Robinson's number. He's at 12.3.
I have over. I think he hits 13. I don't think he's going to hit the Allen Robinson number, but I think that Stephon Diggs gets shadowed, and the hype is all around Gabriel Davis, and it has been for 2 years. I know Nick isn't a believer in the Gabriel Davis hype. I'm a believer in the Gabriel Davis hype, and I have been for 2 years. Unfortunately, I don't have him in a league because I like the other receivers around his ADP, but that's okay. You could pull up the PrimeTime Fantasy Podcast from last year, and you could see that I was all in on Gabriel Davis from the beginning. I think he gets a lot of targets tonight. I think he has a better chance of finding the end zone than Stephon Diggs does tonight. So I think he hits that 13. I think he gets you a really good chance at a touchdown. I think he gets you, 4 or 5 receptions and 40 yards. So 4 receptions, 40 yards, 8 points right there. Touchdown's going to get him 6. Right where I'm projecting him, I think he gets 13 for you.
I think this is a boom week for Gabriel Davis. I think, like I just said, Devin Singletary is not going to be able to run the ball. James Cook is not going to be able to run the ball against that Rams team. Stephon Diggs is going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey. I think everything makes for Gabriel Davis to have to be what Josh Allen is targeting early and often in this game. I think Gabriel Davis has upside of having a 20-point bomb, but I'm not as not high as I am on Gabriel Davis. This is the game where he has to shine. This is where he has to break through. If I had to guess, that offense just ran this take right, or ran the preparation straight through Gabriel Davis. I think he has a monster game. I think he breaks that 12 number.
All right. Yeah. And we've agreed on a lot of these so far. Joe has a question. Does Braxton Berrios have any potential to finish as the wide receiver 1 on this season? Nope. We're just going to remove that one. It's a not great question. Let's move on to the tight ends. Actually, the running backs. Do the running backs first. So Cam Akers and I guess Devin Singletary. We'll start with Cam Akers.
Cam Akers is projected 12.4 points.
Man, again, like it's so touchdown dependent. I know I'm saying this with a lot of these, but I think I'm not comfortable saying the over because I haven't seen a fully healthy Cam Akers on the field. You drafted him around 3 or 4. You're going to play him as your running back, 3 or 4, 1 or 2, whatever. You're playing him. You're definitely playing him. Bills are very good against the run last year. They were, let's see. I thought they were top. I think they were top team against the run last year, fantasy wise. But they were top 10. So I would temper expectations because I haven't seen a fully Cam Akers yet. I think he needs the end zone to hit that number. I think he goes closer to 10 without the end zone.
Yeah, he's touchdown dependent. I think he's going to get a good amount of work in the passing game. But as a rusher, he had a very poor season. I know he was not healthy last year, but he averaged under 2 yards per attempt. Typically, after the Achilles injury, it's very hard to recover. So I don't trust Cam Akers on the season, and I'm not going to trust him going up against that Buffalo front seven.
All right. What about Devin Singletary?
All right, so Devin Singletary is at a cool 10.7. I'll take it first. As I already said, he is not hitting that number.
I'm with you on that. I think he's closer to 8. Again, touchdown dependent. If he scores a touchdown, he could get close to 10, but I think he's closer to 8. I'm not high on playing Singletary, especially against that Rams offense. Josh Allen's the primary rusher on this team. He also has, what's his name behind him? The rookie that they drafted. Slipping my mind at the moment. James Cook, yeah. So I would avoid Singletary tonight. I think he's a sit. He's the first of them saying you actually should sit tonight. So
yeah, I agree.
I'm off on Singletary.
Look at us. We finally agree on some football stuff.
Well, because the Jets aren't playing. That's why. That's really the Jets and the Raiders are our biggest disagreement right now.
I'm going to pull up an old comment. Yes, he has upside of wide receiver.
Yeah, we got to agree on this Jets take. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the tight ends.
Dawson Knox projected 9.3, right around the tight end 10 on the week.
What is he? What's his number?
9.3.
9.3. Over. I'm going over. I think he gets 10. I think he gets in the end zone. Like I said, Stephon Diggs, I don't think has as much red zone potential as these other guys. Dawson Knox was one of Josh Allen's favorite red zone targets, and they just signed him to a contract. When you pay somebody, you expect them to perform. You're rewarding them, but you're also paying them to perform. That means that they value Dawson Knox, both as a pass catcher and both as one of Josh Allen's favorite targets. I think he scores a touchdown tonight. He gets a touchdown, 3 receptions. That'll get him enough for 10 points.
Bobby Wagner's shutting him down. He's having a bad game.
Bobby Wagner's slow and doesn't cover tight ends well. If you look
Dawson
at
Knox is not too athletic, and he's not a great pass.
Yeah, but Bobby Wagner's slow, and if you look at the Seahawks' history against tight ends, it's horrible. Seattle was never good at covering tight ends. At the end of the day,
the tight end position for both these guys comes down to, are they catching a touchdown? And I'm just saying, no. He caught 9 last year. He's going to hit on 50% of his games, miss on 50%. This is one that'll miss. Tough Rams defense. I can't see. I could see him hitting the number, but it purely comes down to the touchdown. I think we'll go for like 3 for 30, maybe 3 for 40.
Tyler Higbee is not scoring a touchdown. So whatever Tyler Higbee's number is it like 8, 9?
It is 8.8.
Under. Nope. I don't think he scores a touchdown. If he does, I'm wrong. And if he does, then if you played Tyler Higbee, then you got a nice number out of him. I don't think he scores a touchdown. I think a lot of these passes go to Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. So I'm going the under.
Goes there. If he finds the end zone, he breaks the number, but that's really it. I was high on Higbee last year. I'm not high on him this year.
All right. We don't talk about it a lot on shows, but let's talk about kickers and defenses a little bit.
Oh, man.
Let's start with the defenses. I don't even know what the projection is. And honestly, to me, projection doesn't matter because everybody's defensive settings are different in every single league. But would you play either one of these defenses tonight?
It's a big old NO. There's no shot in playing either. They have two of the best defenses in football, and they were drafted in the 10th and 11th round for absolutely no reason because you should be streaming your defenses anyway. Like, there was no point in taking them. You have to bench them week 1. You cannot bet against the Super Bowl team and Josh Allen. There's no way I'm playing either one.
Yep, I'm right with you. What about the kickers? Tyler Bass and who's the Rams kicker now? It's
Matt Gay.
Matt Gay. I think they're both in play. I think Matt Bass is going to be a kicker that's played in and out with a lot of weeks and getting a lot of points. And just to be clear, like, the offenses are great, but so are the defenses. So I wouldn't be shocked if the game going into halftime tonight's like 10 to 6, and then maybe we get the offense in the second half. So I think there's a chance for some field goals tonight. I think both field goal kickers are playable. I give Tyler Bass an edge over Matt Gay, though.
Yes, I'm with you. I think they'll have more problems finding the end zone tonight. So I would say that the Bills will score more points from kicking. But I'm not. I mean, both are phenomenal kickers. They should have both been drafted. They're both on high power offenses. So I don't want to do too much analysis of kickers. But the only player I have from tonight's game is Tyler Bass. From all 5 of my leagues, I don't have a single Rams. Really? I wanted Allen Robinson, and I don't have a single Bill outside of Singletary who I'm benching.
So I have Allen Robinson in 3 leagues, and I'm going to need him to perform very well tonight. Because in my dynasty league, I have Kittle, who's going to have a goose egg in my tight end spot. Mm-hmm. So I need a big game from Allen Robinson. I have Stephon Diggs in 2 leagues that I told you I don't love, and I think that's it. I have Singletary on one of my benches, but and I have Cooper Kupp. I have Cooper Kupp in a league, so I have a lot of fun to look forward to tonight. Mm-hmm. Nick, who's a sleeper in this game? Possibly, is there any sleeper that you're thinking about?
There's 2 guys that I'm going to be watching for sure. Darrell Henderson, because I think he's still going to be a vulture. I know that they lost Sony Michel this offseason, but I think Henderson's going to pick up a lot more of that work than people realize. I think after you have the Achilles injury as a running back, it's very hard to recover. There's practically no running back that has properly recovered from an Achilles injury. So I'm watching out for Henderson stealing a lot of Akers' work in this game. And the other person I'm watching is Gabe Davis. I know I'm not high on him, but at the end of the day, I think this is his chance to show he can have a monster week and actually claim that wide receiver 2 spot, something he couldn't do with Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders there. So those are the 2 I got my eyes on for tonight.
I'll tell you a real deep sleeper, and that's Isaiah McKenzie, who's gotten a lot of love in Bill's camp. He's going to be playing in the slot position. I know he's competing with, I think it's Jamison Crowder, but I think he's taken the 1A role in the slot. If anybody's going to have one of those weird breakaway week 1 games for like a long 60-yard touchdown and 3 or 4 receptions, it's Isaiah McKenzie. So if you're in like a 16-man league, or if you're playing daily fantasy and probably want a low value, I don't know what his value is at, but Isaiah McKenzie, I think, is a guy that might be able to have a pretty nice game tonight if Stephon Diggs is being shadowed by Stephon Gilmore. Like I said, somebody has to make up for that, whether it's Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox, or Isaiah McKenzie. I think McKenzie could be your sleeper tonight. Nick, and maybe it's just slipping my mind, did we do a projection for Stafford? I think we may have gotten sidetracked.
No, we did skip Stafford.
Yeah, let's go back there. We got sidetracked by questions, and that's okay. We're still going to give you a Stafford projection if you use Stafford tonight.
All right, so Stafford is pretty far down the list. He's the quarterback 13 projected tonight for 16.9 points.
He's going over. I'll tell you that. The Bills' defense was really good against quarterbacks last year. They were the number 1 team against quarterbacks last year. They were awesome, and they added Von Miller. But Matt Stafford is a great quarterback to me. And the Rams are going to put up a lot of points. A lot of touches are going to go to Cooper Kupp, a lot to Allen Robinson. They're both going to get in the end zone. I think Stafford has 3 or 4 touchdowns tonight. He'll probably have at least 200, 300 yards. Projection 16. He's going to get you at least 19 or 20. So I say an over easily for that one.
Yeah, I think the line is 300 yards, just shy of that, and 2 touchdowns, which would be 20 fantasy points. I think he's falling somewhere between 18 and 20.
The only way he doesn't hit that projection is if Cam Akers has like 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, we have some questions here. Victoria says, Jets or Ravens this weekend? The Ravens are going to smush them. They're in my survivor pool. Oh, yeah, they're going to absolutely demolish Nick's Jets. Which team do you want to win because you enjoy them? And which team do you want to win because it benefits your fantasy team? Which players are you counting on? I have no Ravens or Jets on my fantasy teams because I definitely wouldn't draft a Jet, and I just didn't end up with any Ravens. Who do I want to win? I want the Ravens by 1,000,000,000% because they're in the survivor pool, and I want to win money. And I haven't decided who I'm picking in my spread pool yet. I think I'm going to take the Jets because 7.5 is a ridiculous spread. So you know what? I think I will have the Jets in something.
I'm taking the Ravens and covering that spread, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
8 points is a lot of points.
I mean, it's a touchdown plus, and John Harbaugh is not going to get out defensive-minded coached by Robert Saleh.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any Ravens or Jets that you're counting on? I know you're counting on at least one Jet.
Elijah Moore. That's it.
All right.
That's the name.
All right.
I'm counting on him more for the podcast than my team. I can't. I'd rather lose my week 1 matchup having Elijah Moore in than have to listen to Nick berate me with Elijah Moore slander.
Oh yeah.
4 episodes in the week: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and I'm sure I'll hear about it live on Sunday.
Before we get to this next question, my buddy Joe texted me, don't call Stafford great. I got the receipts. He does have the receipts. I was so anti-Stafford last year. I'm saying it with my chest. I was so anti-Stafford. And just to be clear, like, I think if you put like half the quarterbacks in the league in that situation that Stafford was in last year, I think they would play as well as Stafford, if not better. But he's a great quarterback. He's in the system. He has great players around him. He made Kupp into an elite wide receiver. I'm giving Stafford his flowers, Joe. So you know what? Yes, you were on the Stafford train. You're Stafford's biggest fan. He won you a lot of money last year. I'm not hiding from the take. I totally trashed him until last year. But yeah, I'm calling him great now. I'm not hiding from the take. All right. Nick Barone says, would you start Godwin over Sutton or over Bateman? So I'm going to go Sutton, Godwin, and Bateman. Bateman's the guy I don't think you should play this week because he's not a rookie, but he's almost playing like a rookie. I think he only played like 4 or 5 games last year, and I do like him this year. I think he has a really positive matchup this week. But Sutton is one of the most positive, friendly wide receiver matchups in the league. Godwin's a game-time decision, so if you could only start one, I'm still starting Sutton, I think. What do you think here? It would be between Sutton or Godwin, and you could wait till Sunday at 8 o'clock to make this decision. But I think Bateman's out of this for me. I think I would play Sutton, then Godwin.
These are 3 guys I want to play in every league that I can. I own all 3 in leagues. I'm playing in order: Sutton, then Godwin, then Bateman. Same order.
All right, guys. We've got about 2 more minutes. So if you have any other questions, drop them in the chat. We'll answer them for you. Before we get out of here tonight, Nick, who is your star of the game? Who do you think has the biggest fantasy performance tonight?
I don't like him on the season.
And I don't want to cut you off. Like, my biggest, I mean, like, not scores the most, but, you know, if you drafted X player in round 10 and he scores 20 tonight.
I think this is the week you'll be very happy with Gabriel Davis's performance. I think if you were hesitant on taking him to be your wide receiver 2 or your early flex play, I think this is the one where you'll be confident in playing him. You'll feel a lot better, even though I don't like him on the year. I think this is a perfect matchup for him.
Nick Barone says, let me check my other team. Yeah, we'll wait, Nick, and we'll have our live show on Sunday, and we'll post our question graphic on Saturday, so you can always drop your questions there as well. For me, I think my star of the game is going to be Allen Robinson. I think Gabriel Davis is another one. He's a 1A, 1B with Allen Robinson, but I think the wide receiver 2s really show out tonight. Nick has been anti-wide receiver 2 on the drafting episodes, but I love wide receiver 2s because they don't get the number 2 corner. And if your quarterback's good, if your offense is good, they get a lot of love. I think both wide receiver 2s outperform the ADP for tonight, at least. I think they both find the end zone. They both have like 13 to 17 fantasy points. So I think you'll be really happy with Gabriel Davis, and you'll be really happy with Allen Robinson. So,
yeah.
I think we'll give it like 1 more minute. If we get any more questions, we'll answer them. If not, we'll get out of here, and you guys can enjoy the rest of your coverage for tonight, whether you're watching ESPN, NFL Network, whatever it is, and watch that crappy ass banner drop. I'm going to force myself to puke. Maybe that's when I'll go let Russ pee before before kickoff.
You should wear your Rams hat.
Ugh. I should go get my Rams hat. That's what I should do. It's in my closet. I don't have it on me. All right, Nick Brown goes, only cup in my other league. No questions on that one. Yeah,
you know who that is?
No, it's NBA Roan.
That is NBA Roan.
NBA Roan.
One and only.
All right, I got a question from my boy Joe. He's actually called me. Don't worry, Joe. I saw your text. Who do I start? Jeudy, Moore, Sanders, Gibson, Godwin must start 2. So I'll read them off to you again. Jerry Jeudy. I guess it's DJ Moore, right?
Yeah.
I think it's DJ Moore.
Or Elijah Moore, one of the two.
I'm texting him now. So we'll start it off. Jerry Jeudy, one of the Moores, Miles Sanders, it's Elijah Moore. So Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, Miles Sanders, Antonio Gibson, Chris Godwin must start 2. I'm immediately cutting out Miles Sanders. You should never, ever, ever start him. Like I don't like him. I don't like him. I have no confidence in him. And I'll be honest, Joe, those are some excellent players. So it's like, even if Miles Sanders sits on your bench at 20, like I'll have to eat crow on that take. But the upside of those guys is phenomenal. I don't love Antonio Gibson, but Nick likes him this week a lot. So he has potential. Jerry Jeudy has a great matchup. Nick likes Elijah Moore and Godwin too. So if I'm going to start 2, I would love to start Chris Godwin, but you're not going to know until Sunday night. So in that case, I think I would start. I'm going to go
say it with chest.
No, I'm going with Antonio Gibson as the running back 1 over there. And then I'll go with Chris Godwin if he plays. If not, make sure Godwin's in your flex, Joe, and Jerry Judy's going to go. And Jerry Jeudy will be your backup if Godwin doesn't play. Then you flex Jerry Jeudy.
I'm playing Elijah Moore and I'm playing Jerry Jeudy.
Would you play Chris Godwin over Jerry Jeudy?
No.
But
with the injury concern, I think they have enough weapons out there that'll execute. If he's not playing, he's not playing, and that's fine. I'd rather him healthy for week 2.
All right. Last question. Unless we get more. If we get more, we'll keep going. Nick Brown again. Who should fill my flex? Rashad Bateman, Antonio Gibson, Damian Pierce, or Alan Lazard? Damian Pierce just got named the starting running back. I think he gets first off, Lazard I'm taking out of this because he hasn't practiced this week, so that worries me a little bit. Man, Bateman has a great matchup, but I think I'm going to start Damian Pierce just because he was named the running back 1 today. Everything's trending upward for him, so I'll start Damian Pierce.
Pierce has a tough matchup week 1. I think I'd go with Antonio Gibson here. I think he has so much guaranteed workload that people are just avoiding talking about. He was a top 10 running back for fantasy last year. He was a 1,000-yard rusher. We're just short of it. Like, he's going to put up numbers. I know they're not going to be astonishing, but if you want the most consistent play that you could play here, it's Antonio Gibson. If you want to chase the points, I would go with Rashad Bateman.
All right. Thank you to everybody that's joined us today for this live. And deep down, we really do appreciate it. Everybody that asked a question, everybody that texted us, tweeted, whatever. We really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed tonight's game. The next time you hear from us is tomorrow. It's Friday, September 9th. We have a full preview for this weekend. We have our all bust and all boom teams for week 1. We have injury updates for you. And we also have our rapid fire start sit segment as well. That was a lot of fun last year. So if you want to listen to that episode tomorrow, it's going to be in all of our podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts. If you'd rather watch the show, it's going to be up on our YouTube channel, Primetime Fantasy Podcast. Saturday, we're going to drop our question graphic. If you have any other questions that you want answered on our Sunday morning show and you don't want to wake up early to ask them in the chat, drop it on that graphic. Our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or Instagram, Twitter is PrimeTimeFFPod. Facebook is Primetime Fantasy Podcast. Then the live show this Sunday, don't forget, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, every single Sunday. We're going to go for about a half hour, answer all those questions that you're asking us on the question graphic. And if you join the chat at 8:30, we'll answer your questions as well. Thank you, guys. Enjoy some good food tonight. Grab a beer. Have fun. Hopefully your fantasy team does well. Have a great time. Football's back, and we love it. Talk to you soon.